Welcome to Faith for Healing, a space where God lives, where we explore how faith can transform your daily life. I'm so glad you're here.
Faith for healing, make you stand tall. Faith for healing, conquer it all. We move together, we know go fall. Divine mercy will answer your call. Faith for healing, faith for healing.
We know go fall.
Usually when we talk about a medical diagnosis, there is this heavy expectation of, like, clinical precision.
Right, it's very cut and dry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You think of the cold hum of fluorescent lights in a doctor's office or, the stark reality of an X-ray up on a screen.
You break an arm, the image shows that jagged white line, and the doctor just points at it and says, well, there it is.
Right. It's
entirely binary, The bone is broken or it isn't. The test is positive or it's negative. And honestly, there's a strange sort of comfort in that rigidity, even when the news is bad.
Yeah, because we fundamentally crave things that are visible.
Exactly. Visible, quantifiable, easily categorized.
But then you step out of that fluorescent lighting and into the really profound, kind of mysterious landscape of healing and faith.
And suddenly that X-ray machine doesn't tell the whole story anymore.
No, it doesn't. Because we're looking at a space that is defined by this massive tension between what we feel in our physical bodies and what we believe in our spirits.
It's a huge shift in perspective.
It really is. So welcome to a very special Faith for Healing deep dive. Today, we are exploring a powerful week's worth of devotionals that just completely map out this collision between faith and feelings.
And that tension you just mentioned between the physical senses reporting one reality and faith reporting a higher truth, that's the foundation of everything we're exploring today.
Right.
The goal of this deep dive isn't just to analyze some, abstract theology. We're taking the 7 core concepts from these devotionals and weaving them into a cohesive, highly practical roadmap for you.
The listener.
Exactly. We want to provide you with genuine hope and a real way to navigate those moments when your body is telling you one thing, but your faith absolutely demands another.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because if we're going to navigate that tension, we have to establish exactly where we are fixing our vision before we take any action at all.
Absolutely. You can't act until you know where you're looking.
Right. And the source material begins by laying down this absolute bedrock, the concept of faith oversight.
Yeah, the anchor for this entire journey comes from the biblical definition of faith being the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
The evidence itself.
Exactly. And the devotional uses this really striking visual here. It describes a lighthouse standing completely unbothered against dark, crashing waves.
Oh, I love that imagery.
It's powerful, right? Think about the mechanics of a lighthouse. It doesn't negotiate with the storm.
Right. It doesn't say, hold on, let me wait for the waters to calm down before I decide to shine.
Exactly. Its purpose is to stand firm regardless of the weather. And in the same way, faith doesn't wait for a feeling to be true. The text actually describes faith as the title deed to your healing. It is the evidence.
That title deed analogy is so grounding. It's like holding the closing paperwork to a house you just bought.
Oh, that's a great way to look at it.
Right. You hold this physical piece of paper, and legally, the property is yours. But you might walk into that house for the first time, and it's completely empty.
Just bare walls and floors?
Exactly. There's a hollow echo when you speak. You haven't moved a single piece of furniture in yet. Visually, it looks barren, and it certainly doesn't feel like a home yet.
No, not at all.
But you don't stand in the middle of that empty living room and cry, oh no, I don't own a house.
You'd sound crazy.
You don't doubt your ownership just because the space is empty today. You look at the title deed.
Because the ownership is settled legally, not emotionally.
Exactly.
Your feelings about the empty room don't change the name on the deed. And recognizing that legal spiritual ownership is what allows us to move into the next critical phase of the journey, which is filtering the physical senses.
And this is where the tension really peaks, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because the senses report the facts, the diagnosis, the pain, the fatigue, but the spirit reports the promise, the truth of your healing.
Right.
The imagery the author gives us for this is a brilliant mountain peak rising high above a thick, heavy layer of fog.
Okay, I have to push back here, though. Just on a purely human biological level.
Sure, yeah.
Because it is incredibly difficult, to just filter your physical senses when your body is in actual undeniable pain.
It's so hard.
When you're lying in bed and your joints are screaming or the nausea is so overwhelming you can't even think straight. How do you, practically speaking, look at some unseen mountain peak when the fog is literally suffocating you? It's demanding all of your attention.
What's fascinating here is how the source material navigates that exact human struggle. It doesn't ask you to pretend the pain isn't real.
Okay.
It points us to the spiritual principle of looking not at the seen, but the unseen. And the critical key here is the distinction the author makes between facts and truth with a capital T.
Oh, wow. Facts versus truth.
Right. Because denial isn't faith. If you stand in the fog and say, there is no fog, well, that's just delusion.
Yeah, you're just lying to yourself at that point.
Exactly. The devotional acknowledges that the fog, the pain, the symptoms, the medical report, those are facts. They are happening in real time. But facts, by their very nature, are subject to change. Truth is eternal.
So we aren't gaslighting ourselves.
Not at all. We acknowledge the fog exists, but we make a conscious and sometimes agonizingly difficult choice to elevate our perspective.
To look at the mountain peak.
Yes, we fix our eyes on the unseen reality of wholeness. The posture is basically saying, yes, the fog is real, I feel it, but the mountain peak is higher and the mountain peak is eternal.
You're just giving final authority to a higher reality.
Precisely.
You're anchoring your mind.
Yeah.
And that makes total sense because once the mind is anchored, faith has to move from being this internal cognitive perspective into an external reality.
You have to step out.
Right. We have to transition from how we think to how we speak and act.
And this is where we get into the concept of calling things done. The devotional roots this in the spiritual law of calling things that are not as though they were.
Yeah.
The visual provided is a hand deliberately writing paid in full in brilliant gold ink across a piece of parchment. The instruction for you, the listener, is to start speaking to your body as if the healing is already a completely finished work.
Which takes immense courage, honestly.
So much courage.
Because standing in front of a mirror, looking at a body that feels broken, and speaking wholeness over it, it just feels so counterintuitive.
It really does.
But the devotionals don't just leave it at verbal declarations, do they? There's a real mandate for physical activation.
Yeah, verbal declaration has to be married to physical action. The author brings in the scriptural truth that faith without works is dead.
Right.
To truly believe the promise, the believer must take a physical step of faith. You have to do something that proves you actually believe the words you're speaking.
You can't just talk about it.
Exactly. The imagery shifts here to a single foot stepping out onto a path made entirely of light. Faith is a movement. You don't just sit passively and wait for healing to wash over you.
You actively participate in it by moving your body toward the promise.
Yes.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because it makes me think of, like, walking out of a hospital after your bill has been paid in full.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
Imagine you had $1 million medical debt, and some generous benefactor came in, cleared the entire balance, and the hospital administrator stamped paid in full on your file.
Okay, yeah.
You wouldn't sneak out of the hospital through the back door. You wouldn't cower in the hallways, acting like you still owed them money.
Right. You'd have no reason to be afraid.
Exactly. You would square your shoulders, lift your chin, and walk out with the undeniable posture of someone whose account is completely cleared. You step into the reality of the paid debt.
You let your physical body language align with your spiritual reality. You literally occupy the space of the healed, even as you walk through the recovery ward.
Yes. But then, and this is the kicker, the very moment you square your shoulders, the moment you take that first step of faith onto the path of light, you inevitably face resistance.
Always.
The wind kicks up. The symptoms might even flare. And that requires a shift from just moving forward to actively defending your territory.
Because whenever you claim new spiritual or physical territory, there is pushback. The devotional pivots beautifully here to the necessity of building what it calls a peace perimeter.
A peace perimeter.
Yeah. The text draws on the ancient promise that God keeps in perfect peace the one whose mind is stayed on him.
Right.
And the visual for this is a profoundly calm, lush garden surrounded by a strong, impenetrable stone wall.
A peace perimeter. It sounds beautiful, but I want to dig into the mechanics of that. Why is peace a requirement rather than just a nice byproduct of healing?
It's arguably the most critical mechanism in the entire process, and it bridges theology directly to human biology.
How so?
Think about how the human nervous system is wired. When you are in a state of fear, panic, or chronic stress, like living in the what-ifs of a diagnosis, your body activates the sympathetic nervous system.
The fight or flight response.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your brain floods your system with cortisol and adrenaline. Biologically, when your body is in fight or flight, it diverts energy away from the immune system, away from cellular repair, and away from digestion.
Because it thinks you need to outrun a bear.
Precisely. It deprioritizes healing because it's prioritizing immediate survival. Stress and panic are highly toxic to a recovering body.
Wow, that makes so much sense.
So when the devotional instructs you to build a wall against the noise and aggressively refuse to entertain reports of fear, it is a biological necessity as much as a spiritual one.
You're forcing your body into a state of rest.
You are shifting your body into the parasympathetic state, rest and digest, which is the only environment where deep cellular healing can actually occur. Peace is the necessary atmosphere of a miracle.
But, building a wall can sound really isolating.
It can, yeah.
Like, if someone listening to this right now is thinking, how do I establish a peace perimeter without completely shutting out the world?
Right.
What about well-meaning loved ones who want to discuss the harsh realities of the diagnosis? How do we build that wall practically without becoming a total hermit?
It's a crucial nuance to understand. The stone wall around the garden isn't meant to keep people out. It's meant to keep fear out. You are acting as the gatekeeper of your environment, guarding your heart specifically against the frequency of panic.
So it's about boundaries.
Exactly. If a loved one brings fear into the room, even out of deep love and genuine concern for you, you have the right to kindly but firmly change the subject.
Yeah.
You can just say, I know you love me and you're worried, but right now I'm only making space for hope. You filter the inputs to protect the biological and spiritual atmosphere of your garden.
You curate the environment. I love that. But navigating this journey isn't all quiet defense and walled gardens, is it?
Not at all.
The devotionals introduce a massive shift in tone when we move from establishing peace to taking offensive action. We go from the quiet garden to the shout of Jericho.
It's a brilliant, jarring juxtaposition. The source brings us to the ancient story of the Israelites standing before the massive fortified walls of Jericho.
Right.
Because sometimes faith needs a sound. A quiet, peaceful confidence is beautiful, but there is a time when the believer must use their physical voice as an offensive weapon.
And the visual here is intense.
Yeah, it's a silhouette of someone shouting fiercely toward a massive, crumbling stone wall.
Which, honestly, logically sounds completely absurd. Shouting at a brick wall before it shows any structural weakness kind of makes you look crazy.
Oh, complete.
The physical senses we talked about earlier would be screaming, "You're making a fool of yourself. The wall is still there."
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that absurdity is the entire point of the exercise.
Really?
Yeah. The profound lesson of Jericho is that the Israelites were commanded to shout their victory before they saw the walls fall.
Wow. Before.
The shout wasn't a celebration of a completed event, it was the trigger. Praise isn't just a reaction to a miracle, praise is the catalyst for the miracle.
That's powerful.
Your voice has the power to change the atmosphere of your room, your mind, and your body. It shakes the walls of sickness because it requires you to act with utter conviction in the face of contradictory evidence.
So if we look back at the ground we've covered, we have anchored our minds with the title deed. We've elevated our perspective to filter out the fog.
Yeah.
We've called the healing done, taken physical steps to occupy that space, fiercely guarded our peace, and literally shouted at the walls of resistance.
It's a lot.
It is an enormous amount of exertion. It requires so much spiritual and mental effort to sustain that posture. But then the devotionals guide us to the final concept, and the narrative just completely flips.
It really does. The culmination of all this effort leads us to Sabbath surrender.
Sabbath surrender.
Yeah. After all the exertion of stepping, defending, and shouting, the highest expression of faith is actually the total cessation of effort.
The ultimate effort is to stop trying.
Exactly. Based on the scriptural mandate to be still and know that I am God, the devotional explores this profound paradox. True rest is the highest form of faith.
The imagery shifts one final time here, doesn't it?
It does. It shifts to completely still water, perfectly reflecting a brilliant sunset. When you truly trust God, you stop striving. You let go of the exhausting need to hold your own universe together.
Because you realize the battle is the Lord's.
Precisely.
It's such a beautiful and deeply challenging paradox. Stopping our struggle is the ultimate proof that we actually believe God is working on our behalf.
Right.
Like, if I truly believe the debt is paid in full, I don't stay up all night pacing the floor trying to figure out how to earn the money. I go to sleep.
Exactly.
My rest is the empirical evidence of my trust. Sometimes I think we turn faith into a new kind of exhausting performance, where we feel like we have to constantly believe hard enough to earn the healing.
And that's entirely backwards. Rest is a confession. When you lay down your need to control the outcome, you are confessing to your own body and to God that you actually trust the title deed.
So what does this all mean? When we zoom out and look at this entire roadmap from the title deed of faith, through the steps, the shouts, and finally into deep Sabbath rest. What is the core takeaway for the person listening right now who might just be bone tired from the fight?
The devotionals leave us with a very provocative thought to mull over. We just established that rest is a confession of trust.
Right.
Well, the inverse is also true. Our anxiety is a confession of doubt.
Oh, wow. That's heavy.
It's a harsh truth to confront, but a necessary one for liberation. So the question for you, the listener, to explore on your own is this: what would it look like tomorrow to physically structure your day around the assumption that your healing is already a finished work?
Yeah.
How would you wake up? How would you breathe? How would you interact with your family if you were living entirely from the reality of that title deed rather than the reality of the fog?
You'd probably stop staring at the empty living room and start decorating the house you already own.
Oh, exactly.
To close out our week together, we want to pray over you using the daily prayers from this week.
Father, I anchor my soul in your word. I refuse to be moved by symptoms.
Lord, help me fix my eyes on the unseen reality of my wholeness.
I speak to my cells and command them to align with the word of God.
Lord, give me the strength to take a step of faith today.
Lord, I station your peace at the door of my heart today.
Father, I praise you for the breakthrough that is happening right now.
Lord, I rest in your finished work. I am whole. Amen.
Thank you for following and sharing. We appreciate your support. God bless you. You can connect with us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram under Faith for Healing.
Every like, it's a beautiful thing. Join the family, hit that button, let the healing flow.
Faith for Healing, we appreciate the love. Like, subscribe, and share the blessings from above. Yeah, hit that subscribe. We appreciate the love.